Hello, people. It's Rick Sick, Rick the Kid with the Hot Bars here, and today we're doing something just a little bit different. You guys are used to seeing the Backyardi'Yinz in more of a podcast format at Dominic's house in the studio. Times change, people change, and people's priorities change. So we've been looking for a different way to use the Backyardi'Yinz brand that we built, and I think this interview thing might be something that we do from now on. I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. Fairly excited about it today for our first ever one-on-one interview. Here we have Ethan from Four Pillars of Hell, and he's here to discuss a blog that he's going to be working on here shortly. How are you today, Ethan?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. How are you doing, Rick?
Oh man, I am fantastic. I had a great day at work. I'm ready to watch John Cena rule some ass in the Elimination Chamber tonight. You know, it's all good things, all good vibes. So I mentioned you're from the Four Pillars of Hell YouTube channel, but whenever I saw that name pop up for the first few times, it was on Twitter, and it had been a while. I mean, obviously, as a wrestling fan, you get put into the wrestling circle, and eventually you see even the 15, 20 follower accounts. So whenever one gets up into the thousands, it tends to pop up a little more often. So that's what I had seen you from previously. Where did your content creator journey begin?
Basically, it was somewhere around like my second year of college when I had first discovered like people talking more in depth about the wrestling that I liked online, because for such a long time I was so one-track minded into the WWE TNA sort of divide. But once AEW came around and I had gotten a little bit used to it and started meeting people online, that's when I decided, hey, I want to start talking about this stuff, because there's at that point in time, like right after COVID hit, there was a lot of need or want for people to just like watch stuff at home. And I thought, hey, I'm watching a lot of wrestling at home. Why don't I just share what I've been watching? And I've just mostly it's me complaining about things that I like not
I mean,
being
isn't
around
that what
anymore.
all of us wrestling fans like to do?
Exactly. And then I just
Uh,
met some people, and then it
yeah.
snowballed from there.
So I took a quick look through your YouTube channel, and you don't seem to have a lot going on over there, but what you do have is quality stuff and a decent amount of subscribers. So it looks like you take the tact of quantity over quality, or quality over quantity, I should say.
Definitely. Right now, I have a few projects in the works that I'm planning on uploading soon. I just have not had the time to record the audio for them. But the big one that I'm very excited for is talking about some of my favorite matches from the very early years, like 1989 to 91 of FMW, when Onita was like the god amongst men. And he
Hell
had
yeah.
like probably one of my favorite matches of all time, the Texas Death Match with him and Tarzan Goto versus Masanobu Kurisu and Dragon Master. It is a masterpiece of chair throwing violence.
You are absolutely my style of wrestling fan, so I can get behind this. Very excited to see where that goes. And clicking through a couple of your music videos, they were pretty fun. I saw that you're trying to maybe take commissions on making music videos in the future. So if anybody has any music video needs in their life, maybe hit up Four Pillars of Hell and see what he could do for you. Um, that's on the professional side, though. We're more here today to talk about backyard wrestling, right?
Yeah.
Um, and you know, as it normally is on Golden Triangle Media, we talk about the stupid shit that we did when we were younger, and we just like to watch it because most people haven't. And if anybody's going to be marks for it, it might as well be marks for ourselves. Um, but because of that, our community had always been like kind of close knit and closed off, and especially in the 2005 to 2015 range, where it was so taboo to be a backyard wrestler that these things couldn't even go onto the internet. And you aren't somebody that came up with our community, so how did you find out about us?
Well, my journey into backyard wrestling is very similar to a lot of people's journeys who are of my age, but like anybody who's of my age who knows anything about you guys went through like the same exact journey I did, which was starting with the guy now known as Fuego del Sol's promotion, KBW, the one that was on the trampoline, and then I would just go down the YouTube rabbit hole, and I think I got requested one of the VCW. I don't know, I don't remember what video it was, but it was a really gnarly spot of somebody falling off or jumping off of a U-Haul of some sort. I don't remember it exactly, but that's the one that I was like, oh my goodness, this is what backyard wrestling can be. I thought it was just guys doing AJ Styles shit on a trampoline, so it looked 20 times less impactful.
There's a lot of that too.
Mm-hmm.
And so that led you to find our community. And whenever you started digging in a little bit, I guess you ran into our boy Brock, right?
Yeah. I had known about Brock for a while because he's going to hate me for saying this, but I was in my senior year of high school when my teacher got mad at me for reading one of his reviews in class after I'd finished all of my work. He's going to be mad at me about being in high school when doing that because he's going to feel old as shit.
Well, he is. Yeah, we all are.
But yeah, he's like great writer. Very excited to be working with him on this because he's like the guy on the inside who actually got to see most of this stuff live. Well, not most, but like a good chunk of it live.
Yeah, he lived it. So speaking of this is the Yard Subject to Change blog, right? And I mean, as far as any of us know, it's the first ever blog written about backyard wrestling. And before we get into that, I would like anybody that's here watching live with us to maybe drop in, hit a like, maybe hit some comments in the channel, say hi, let us know how everything looks. And this is the first time that I've done a one-on-one interview, so having a little bit of commenter interaction would be a good time. But yeah, we're here to specifically talk about your Yard Subject to Change blog. So why don't you fill us in?
All right. So I think there may be a compatriot on the blog in here. I'm not exactly sure, but if you are, hello, Abby. Good to see you. But basically, Yard Subject to Change it was an idea I had earlier this year on a whim. I decided, hey, I've been watching a lot of really cool backyard wrestling, and nobody's talking about it whatsoever. But I just saw John's comment. That's another one of our contributors. So basically, yeah, we have two contributors in the chat right now. I DM'd both of my friends on Discord in here, and then I messaged Brock and Simon of Handwork Reviews because they're four guys who I know are interested in backyard wrestling or have, like in Brock's case, have lived backyard wrestling, whose writing I really like. And I thought, hey, nobody's talking about this. This is stuff that is way more dangerous and exhilarating than a lot of the stuff you'll see most places in the world today outside of like Puerto Rico when they run the Globa de la Muerte match. And I just thought it was an absolute wellspring. And my favorite thing about it is that we have people of all different levels of yard knowledge here. So Abby, he is like, it's funny because he's one of the oldest guys on it, but he's also the one who has the least experience with backyard wrestling. Mostly like what I've shown him in Discord VCs, which is a lot of 2KW and a good chunk of some VCW stuff. And then we have myself. I'm not like the deepest into it, but I've always loved it. Jom is like, we're around the same age, and he and I went through pretty much the same exact thing, like the whole KBW to VCW / link pipeline. And then Simon has been watching it for ages, and then Brock is like the one who has the most experience with it. So I like that we're all coming at it from different vantage points, and ultimately the goal is for us to be in tune enough to come up with a list of the 100 best full matches we have on tape.
Yeah, I mean, that's fantastic. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't super excited about that because honestly, I think all that's going to do is drive a little bit of traffic at the very least to my channel, which I love for me. But also, like, I want to share with you guys. I want to put as much out as I can to help you guys with your project. Before we did our reunion show last year, I took a swing at trying to put together a top 100 yarders of all time list, and I kind of gave the list of all 200 and some guys I could come up with to the community and said, hey, why don't you guys rank like your top 50 or top 100 and send it my way? Unfortunately, that's a tall task to ask from so many people, and I only got a few replies, so like it kind of hit the skids pretty quick. So seeing a top 100 matches in full would be absurd. So like your plan is with this blog to what, talk about specific matches on the weekly, or what's the deal?
So basically, we've decided that since all of us are doing so much stuff right now, the best thing for us to do would be we're reviewing 3 matches a week, one on Monday, one on Wednesday, one on Friday, and they're each getting uploaded. We haven't decided on a time, but sometime around probably noon Eastern, 1 p.m. And we're just going to go match by match, talk about each, do a little review, and then at the end, we're all going to vote whether we think it's going to be a yes or a no. And if it's like at least 3 yeses, we consider it. 4 yeses, it's most likely going to be there. 5 yeses, 100% going to be on there.
That's awesome, man. Super excited to look forward. Now, when does the first edition of this blog drop?
So actually, funnily enough, tomorrow we're going to be uploading the What About Us blog post, basically. Just talking about our individual interests in backyard wrestling, who we are as a collective, what we're doing. Basically a text form of what I'm doing right now. But then Monday we're going to be uploading the post about our first match. I'm just checking to make sure which match that is because I'm very excited about it. It is going to be from SWC's Backyard Supremacy 2009, B Snow versus Twisted Outcast.
Yeah, BYS2, man. So quick story about that match, a fun little anecdote for you. I was the main event. That match was the pre-main event. And while they are working and hitting their spots and doing all the crazy stuff they're doing, myself and Fokelin, standing about 20 feet away from the base, talking over what we're about to be doing, find ourselves getting lost in what these two dudes are doing and decided to start a "We Can't Top This" chant.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure that you'll hear it at some point in the full match if you watch it. But yeah, we were pretty convinced that we weren't going to be able to outdo what they were doing in front of us, and we couldn't. But that's fine. That's the life in backyard wrestling. People are going to try to steal the show every single match, and if you can't do what they're doing, then they're going to be better than you, and that's just how it is.
Wait, was that also you chanting? I think it was after the most well-known spot in the match, the Canadian Destroyer through the chair. Were you the one who was chanting, "Why do we have to follow this"?
Yes, that was Steve and I. Yes, definitely.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I believe that was Steve's chant because he's always a little more long-winded than I was. I probably would have been chanting something along the lines of "F this shit" or something.
Because there were 2 renditions. There was "We Can't Top This" and then "Why do we have to follow this?" So I'm pretty sure you were "We Can't Top This."
Yeah, right. But it was so fun to be a part of that. So I'm very much looking forward to reading about it. And luckily enough, I mean, I just got possession of that full match a couple months ago. I thought it was lost to the landfill, but a friend of mine who didn't help. I mean, he essentially was the It's Not Dead Yet documentary that we put out. He directed it and produced it and did all the stuff. He found an old hard drive that he had put away since probably 2011 with all of BYS2 on it. So luckily for that, that's why we're even able to watch that.
That's funny. The opening part of the like introduction to us is that a lot of the footage that we don't have is sitting on a hard drive that hasn't been touched since the Obama administration, and you're describing exactly that.
Yeah. Yep, that's exactly the issue. And aside from like maybe missing hard drives, a lot of stuff got deleted because hard drive space was very small back then, and full matches that run hundreds of megabytes or gigabytes or what have you just did not work with the technology that we had. So, I mean, I'm going to be obtaining tapes very soon, which is going to help us in this process. But, like, outside of Scott Henson's Blue Thunder video, which is a godsend to all of us backyard wrestlers and backyard wrestling fans, there's really like no database that exists of full matches anywhere. So that's something that I'm trying to build here on Golden Triangle Media, and hopefully you guys can take some of it and use it to your advantage, and we could both be fulfilled through this process, because I'm already having a ton of fun. And I can only expect other people that watch backyard wrestling and read about it, and if they're real wrestling fans, if they're in the mud with us, they'll enjoy what we had going on.
Absolutely.
So before we get out of here, you did a little bit of digging yourself already. You said you've watched around. Backyard wrestling is about essentially 5 things, right? It's about the wrestlers, the spots, the matches, the shows, and the music videos. And those are essentially the 5 things. I mean, most of that is what wrestling's about in general, but backyard wrestling, those are the 5 things that we always talk about. Any one of those things, do you have any favorites, any favorite wrestlers or music videos or anything like that that you've come across so far?
Ooh, quite a few. Favorite wrestlers and favorite spots kind of intertwine, because a lot of the time I find myself being attracted to the wrestlers who do the nuttiest spots, but also there are guys who are just like solid even without having to do the most insane thing I've ever seen. Like Yakuza J is a backyard rendition of Samoa Joe, and I mean that as an utter compliment. I love Samoa Joe. He is just unbelievable. Scott Henson, another, rest in peace. But his work is just unbelievable. For guys that I would love to see more of, I still haven't seen enough Zeus McFly, but from what I've seen, he is a madman.
Yeah.
The way he does the like the top of the headbutt is just stupid.
You even have a little Zeus McFly about you too, so I could see why you would get down with some Zeus.
Exactly. Pyro's the guy that I want to see
most or anything like that. Are you down with the music videos? You're an editor yourself, so I'm sure you've seen some things you like.
I love the yard music videos. My favorites are the ones that are probably the tribute music videos to specific guys. I love the big backyard one. Though I had seen it before, but I didn't realize that was from your channel. It's really, really wonderful. But I think my favorite thus far is probably the Joey Knockowitz one to Sadder Weirder by Bomb the Music Industry, just because like the utter shell shock of hearing that, oh, somebody in the yard days was listening to Jeff Rosenstock. I had no idea people that like there was that connection there. But it's also like super well coordinated with the music itself.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like going through backyard wrestling music videos is you find all the music, like literally everything. There is not a band that hadn't been used. Now, obviously, you're going to find a lot of Breaking Benjamin. You're going to find a lot of 3 Doors Down and 30 Seconds to Mars and all that stuff, because Radio Rock just worked with wrestling really well in those days. But you're also going to find like literally any music video that Jonah Block, Jay Spider has ever made is different from the one that came before it, and it's a song that you might not have ever heard before if you hadn't listened to or watched this Jonah music video. And I mean, I've read comments recently where people are saying that like literally Jonah's wrestling music videos shaped these people's music interest for the rest of their life. So I think that's my favorite part about backyard wrestling music videos, is that like you could just pick a song and go with it, and if you're creative enough to make something cool out of it, like it works. And there was always a lot more effort given in those days than like it seems like a lot of today's music videos are just like timed up clips over a song. We used to like go out of our way to do effects and that type of stuff.
Dude, today's music videos, half of them, I could describe it to you right now. 5 rapid cuts of the guy's entrance, 3 cuts of them about to do their finisher, but stopping right before the move hits. Like 2 actual videos of them doing moves not stopped in one way or another by a split, like a cut frame.
Mm-hmm.
It's so frustrating. But you guys had the formula down pat. I don't know why we have lost the recipes, but now we're able to see the recipes again. So I think if more people get exposed to these backyard music videos, they're going to be like, oh, that's what a wrestling music video is supposed to be like.
Yeah, I mean, I like to hope so too, especially whenever you have such talented editors that we had. Like, I mean, for me, top of the list is like Lee Andrews and Matt DeMorris and Jonah Block. But there were so many other people. Like Anarchy Andy made 1,000 music videos a week back in his day. I dabbled once or twice. Joe Randa. The list just goes on and on of people that have attempted to just put this backyard wrestling art form music video stuff together, and I think all of us kind of influenced each other's styles. Like, oh, I liked what he did with that transition, I'm going to use it but put my spin on it, and then the next person sees what I did and they do what I did and puts their spin on it, you know, and eventually they all kind of found a way to look the same while being different, and we can like I can almost pick out who made the music video just by watching it at this point, but I'm a degenerate backyard wrestling nerd with a 7 terabyte hard drive. So,
oh, shout out to the MX5 music video that he made to The Best of Me. That wasn't using any backyard clips, but using his own pivot animations.
yes, it was fantastic. And there were the pivot animations were of some backyard clips.
Damn.
Yeah, if I mean you have to be in the know to know, but you could tell that a few of them that were in there were not stolen, but inspired by stuff that happened in backyard wrestling. So yeah, I mean, great video. MX5 was another great editor. There's just so many of us that at least like swung for it, and I'd like to live in a world where people started to see the stuff that we put out all those years ago, because like I said earlier, we just couldn't put it out. It couldn't be something super public when you have somebody like Ricky Shane Page going to indie feds and winning top championships, and you can't be a backyard wrestler and an indie wrestler. So, you put on a mask and you become Christian Faith so no one could tell the difference, It was a wild time, and I'm really glad that we're past that and we're finally able to look back on this and talk about it and have other people that maybe weren't part of it get to learn and see what we did. And even if it only grows the people that know backyard wrestling by 50%, I mean, that's still a nice chunk of people that I would love to just see our community, and especially be able to get a look at some of the crazy, ridiculous, dangerous, awful, awesome things that we did. And I think that your blog's going to help us a lot with that. So where can we find it specifically?
All right, so where you can find it is it's at yard subject to the number 2 change.wordpress.com. It's going to be in the description of the Twitter bio, which is at YSTC blog, once our first post goes live tomorrow. And you can find most of our updates at YSTC blog on Twitter.
That's awesome, man. So excited for your welcome post tomorrow and your first match rundown on Monday, especially because it's a match that I booked and literally happened in my backyard. So I love that for you, and I love that for us. We did have a couple people actually comment, so because of that, we'll give them a shout for a second here. This is John. Shout out, Abby. We got Abby. Hey, Eth Dog. We got the Patreon, Theo Sakara. The GBYWN helped me create our community and travel different states, wrestle people we met online. Wild, thank you. Yeah, see, that's the thing. I'm hoping that a lot of what we do gets the next generation of backyard wrestlers to travel and meet up. I mean, YouTube's crazy with it, so it seems like these kids these days are making money off the stuff that we used to spend money to do. So, like, more power to you. I really hope that there's a next generation of backyard wrestlers that travel and do super shows. Have a few here from Lego Studios, guy. We'll just click on this one. Does Joe Randa still fight in backyard wrestling? Buddy, I'm sorry to tell you, most of us don't. Joe Randa was actually one of the first ones to like retire, quote unquote. But in general, we meet up once a year. All these shows that you see on Golden Triangle Media are all 10 years ago, aside from the It's Not Dead Yet show that we did last year. But yeah, with that, backyard wrestling is so awesome. Yeah, we agree. We agree. That's why there's a blog about it and a whole YouTube channel here. So with that, man, thank you for your time. Such a nice dude. Very eloquent. Love listening to you speak. So I'm sure I'll love listening to you read, or reading you write. Yeah, something like that. I'm excited for the whole process, and maybe we'll have you back for some more stuff as we go along the line because GTM interviews might be a thing. It was kind of fun.
That'd be awesome. Thank you. And if you are a British backyard wrestling aggregator out there, please, please, for the love of God, find some pyro matches. That guy is awesome.
Find the guy some pyro matches. There will be a couple more posted on Golden Triangle Media, but not too many. He did come to the United States again, or one time maybe, yeah, at least once for a BXW show. I'll have something from that, but yeah, if there are any UK media collectors outside of Lee Andrews, who I'm sure has a few over on BYW Library, yeah, hit us up. Give me all your footage so I can put it on my YouTube channel because I'm needy. But with that, Golden Triangle Media out.